What if I told you the reason your podcast isn't making money or becoming a success isn't because you don't have a lot of followers, but it's because you have not mastered the experience or the monetization path? Well, today on this show, we're going to break down podcasts and really how they become a success and what you're missing and how we can make your podcast pop, make money, and actually have that visibility you need. Stay tuned, right? Because when we come back, we're going to learn some things to elevate your podcast. I am Dr. Shelly Shell Williams, and I'll see you after this break. All right, welcome back to Elevate with Dr. Shelly Shell Williams, and we are elevating our podcast. And the thing is, I know a lot of people have podcasts, but we have to start with the foundation. And I know everybody says, what is your why? But really, the answer is, what is your why? Why do you want to do this podcast? Who do you want to speak to? You got to get clear on what it is you want to do. And we're in a live studio audience for those at home and those here. I want you to go ahead and come through this with me, right? So what is your niche, right? Do you want to build authority, right? What kind of show do you want? Do you want authority or do you want an interview show? There are different types of shows, right? Authority show is what this is, right? I just want to teach a lesson. Why? Because my end path is I want to make an offer. I want somebody to pay me something. That's the truth, right? So do you want an authority show or do you want an interview show? The interview show is like a Breakfast Club and Breakfast Club and there's another one. Gillian Wallow. How can I forget Gillian Wallow? So the actual interview shows are like the Breakfast Club and Gillian Wallow, but you have to decide which one you want, right? But we got a system for that, right? You have to figure out what that why is, right? What it is. Do you know your why? Anybody? We're going to ask anybody out there. Figure out your why. You're like, well, I know my why in life. I have a why in life, but I have a why I do this show. Let's go back to the story. Why I'm doing this show. I was just telling our guest that's coming up, Revive P.O.C. I was just telling her, the reason why I'm doing this particular show is I want to master YouTube. I don't want to be on a radio station. I want to master YouTube because the income is in the YouTube. I know millionaires literally that are clients making millions from a YouTube. And I say, you know what? This year, this particular thing, I'm going to go YouTube. So you have to decide what your why is, right? That's the first thing. Give you the tools which would apply, then they got to apply it immediately, whatever that why is, right? So Charlemagne the God, his why is not just interviews, right? He's a cultural conversion and conversations that create moments. Cultural conversations that create moments. Is that what you want to do? Is that what you want to do? You got to decide if that's what you want to do. I did that for years. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm done with that. I'm over that, right? I'm over that part. Joe Rogan has one of the hottest podcasts out here. He had a deal for $200 million with Spotify. Do you want that type of show? His why is not content. It's curiosity and deep conversation. What type of podcast do you want? Right? Gilly the Kid and Wallow, right? Their why is not entertainment. It's real life game through stories. I got that game. I got to give you that game. It's real life game through stories. So now that you see the difference between different people doing the podcast, you get to decide what you want. So of course we have a prompt for that. The thing is, in this world, we got something that God gave us. I believe God gave it. Yes, somebody else made it, but God gave us ChatGPT. My boo, you know my boo? Did y'all meet him? Have y'all met my boo, ChatGPT? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let you share my boo, ChatGPT, right? And I'm gonna let you go to this prompt. And here's our prompt for today. So here's your AI prompt. Anybody out there, right? Act as a top 1% podcast strategist, right? Help me define a powerful and profitable concept for my podcast, right? My podcast style is, you decide whether it's teaching, authority, interview, or conversation. Decide which that is. My audience is, describe them, what you think your audience will be. In order to know who you're talking to make the money, to know that you're speaking to the right people, you have to know who it is. So you have to break down who your audience is and who you want to speak to. My personality style is, mine is, whatever that is, funny, bold, motivational. Decide what that is. Give me my podcast why, the experience I create, what makes my show different, and how I can monetize this type of podcast. This is how we're going to start a podcast. If you've done one before and you stop, if you stop, that's because you must not have been making money, or you may not have been making an impact, because something that works, your show ain't going to stop. I can't see a millionaire saying that my millionaire business is working and I'm going to stop. No, you're going to keep going because it's working. So you have to decide where do I want to go this time. So if you've done it before, make sure you do it with a strategy. The reason it's not working is because of a strategy. When I started doing single on a Saturday night, which we were just talking about, single on a Saturday night, it had a why behind it. Of course, singles. That was the good thing about it. It was about singles, but it also had to have a particular method to it. I needed it to be at a venue that had food. I didn't want to provide food, but I wanted them to buy food. Everything I got to do. I'm not going to be a person saying, let me go fix some food. No, I'm not fixing your food. So we got to be at a restaurant. But I also knew that if I'm at a restaurant, the goal was for the restaurant to pay me. And I just got the question from our guest, which is Revive P.O.C. I'm just giving you that. She said, you ever get that check? Listen, I was paid by the restaurants. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want anybody to jump up in my jump up, I want to get in there too. But my goal, I always come in with negotiating tactics like, all right, I'm coming into your establishment and I'm bringing people. So what we going to do? How we going to do this? This is going to be on TV. So I made a deal. So my why was that it was about the singles, but it also was about giving the singles an experience. But I'm not going to pay for the experience. They're going to pay me for the experience. So yes, I got it sponsored, and I'm only telling y'all this. Don't tell nobody else, just in case they don't want to go to the restaurant that I went to and say, "Ooh, you was paying Shelly Shell," but I'm Shelly Shell. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, yes, you did. I was paid to do those, to do the restaurant. My second reason why I already had my income stream in place was because I was actually their social media strategist for the restaurants from here to Atlanta, which no one knew. I kept that under tuck as well. But it all had a why, and it had a path. So you have to know your monetization path before you start. So when you put this prompt in, which I want you to do, put the prompt in, and then when we come to the next show, we're gonna the next segment, we're gonna ask them what they got. We have some volunteers. Oh my gosh, we have some volunteers. So we're gonna go. But when we come back, we're going to have our guest. Her name is Revive P.O.C, a.k.a. Tamara. What can I say your name?
It's okay. Keep going.
All right, Revive P.O.C. We're just going to go with that. All right, when we come back, I'm Dr. Shelly Shell Williams right here, and you say cafe. Let's go. Hey, welcome back, y'all. This is Elevate with Dr. Shelly Shell Williams, and we're speaking all about elevating your podcast. Now, there's different people call a podcast. They have a radio show, but any way you put it, it is a form of telling your message through some particular type of way, whether it's TV, radio, YouTube, or whatever that is, and or like our guest for today, Revive P.O.C. P.O.C. Right? She asked me a question that just blew my mind. So let me tell. She said, well, is this going to be multi-streamed? And I can't even tell you the question because she is so deep with it. So welcome to the podcast, Revive P.O.C.
Yes.
In the building.
I'm excited, Shelly. This is like a full circle moment for me. A little bit like deja vu for real, right? Because you know how we started. Like first time we ever met each other. You remember?
You interviewed me.
Yes. And I was doing a live broadcast. So to be sitting here, at your live broadcast to talk about your first show that's ever, with your name on the title. Right? I'm excited about that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. You're right. Yeah. It is. I didn't even think about it like that. Yup. That's how we met. Yeah. We did that interview and oh man, we had a good time. Yeah. But we have a conversation a lot about journalism versus content creation, and we have a lot of those type of conversations. But I want you to go into the conversation you had in the beginning. You said, how is this going to be delivered, right? Mm-hmm. And you had, in my thought, I was like, well, educate me, because you broke down a few different ways to do it. So tell us how, Monica asked, what's the difference between what she's doing now, which is a radio show, and I'm saying a podcast. So can you break down the different methods of it?
The difference between a podcast and an actual radio show?
And what you were talking about, the way it's delivered, all of those things. So you did that thing.
Well, in my opinion, a podcast can be pre-recorded. It can be edited. It can be clipped. It can be something that you can play back. It can be something that you can play back for the listening audience. Versus a radio show is actually live. It's typically on terrestrial radio or even internet radio, which is the lane that I'm in right now, or satellite radio as well. So I feel like when you're doing a live broadcast, that's just what it is. You're putting it out to the masses the way that they're consuming it in that real time. Versus a podcast, you can make it pretty. You can dress it up. You can add a filter. You can add this. You can add that. And that actually creates it's the podcast, right? And also to me, when I first got into this industry, podcasting was just audio. It was just strictly audio recording conversation. It wasn't necessarily the video component that it is now. And I think the video component actually takes it to another realm, which is actually reality TV or streaming, whatnot, which is bringing in a different type of conversation. In my opinion, I think those are like 3 different lanes, truly. And then the question that you're talking about as far as how I was asking, you know, like, how are we going to be able to get the playback from today's conversation? And you were like, yo, it's live streamed on YouTube, and I'm trying to, you know, find a way to monetize income off of YouTube streams. But for me, I'm not saying that that's a problem or anything like that. I totally understand that. But for me, I own my own website. I believe in ownership. So anything that I'm going to live stream or anything that I'm going to produce, I'm always going to put it back on my platform. I don't own YouTube. YouTube can crash in 10 minutes and we won't have any of this content. No offense. I'm just saying, but if it comes down to my actual personal website where it's mine, I'll be able to create, you know, a lane or create revenue that goes directly to me, and I don't have to get pennies on a dollar, because whatever comes through that stream will come directly to me as who I am as the you know, the host.
Yes, and that's what I noticed from day one. You always make sure it's on your platform.
Yes. ReviveIsAlive.com.
ReviveIsAlive.com. So you are definitely internet radio, but it has taken you in so many different directions where when you first started, you had your computer, you were on another platform, right? Mm-hmm. And then now you have been like on your own platform, and then you've been picked up by WURD as well as other like WHYY throughout. Like you've been like literally they've seen her and said, "I see what you do," and she's been picked up by these different networks. So how did they come to you, and what was the conversation like?
That's a great story. So when it comes down to the WHYY pitch, that was during the uprisings of George Floyd. I was boots on the ground, street walking, and actually doing interviews that way, getting real responses in real time. And WHYY had nothing like that on their channel, as you know, their traditional media outlet, and it's typically powered by white women and white men. So to come in and have, you know, a little bit of flavor, a little bit of ethnicity to the actual airwaves is what my intentions was to do. You know, when you talk about your why, I wanted to make WHYY, which is a Philadelphia news and radio outlet, also reflect what Philadelphia looks like, the real Philadelphia, Black Americans here in the city of Philadelphia. So that's how that actually got started. Shout out to Christopher Flood, drummer Norris. He hit me up and was like, yo, can you do this? And from there, that relationship and partnership just really took off. And then with WRD, that's actually where I got my start, my feet wet. I did my post-grad internship coming from Cheney University to WRD, and I was actually doing social media marketing similar to what you were doing. And shout out to my mentor at the time, Solomon Jones. He allowed me to sit down, be on the mic, and I haven't shut up since then. But not only that, like you are really passionate about it. How do you keep your passion still going? Because I don't know, I've been in the media for a long time, and I have some moments. I'm going on 11 years in media in general and 9 years with a media production company. So I definitely understand, you know what I mean? And then we're also women at the same time, so we go through a lot of different things, right? And then also just trying to learn how to be a boss, right? Because like you said, when I first started Revive, I started because I wanted to be a radio host. I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to, tell news and information to people that look like me, and also tell stories of people who look like me and represent things that I represent. So that's how I got started. And from there, the platform grew and it became so much bigger than me. So it became a business, not because I stepped into it as a business. It became a business because it became bigger than me. And from there, the passion became multiple hat wearing, and now I'm, sitting at different tables and I'm doing different things. And I champion that, I thank God for that every day, because it's not easy, and to be able to be tired or exhausted from something you once saw as a dream or something that you didn't even think was real can come true. It's an amazing feeling. So I thank God every day for it, for real.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you've been able, like when internet radio, we've seen that it changes. Everything changes. Radio is changing. Where do you see yourself going to it, and how will this change affect you?
Actually, I was ahead of the curve, thank God, right? Like, so me having internet radio and me having my own streaming platform, in 2020 when the world stopped, I was still able to stream. I didn't necessarily have to go and figure out how to do this and how to do this. I was able to simultaneously broadcast on Instagram Live and ReviveIsAlive.com, and that pushed me all the way to the top. You know what I mean? Like, I was interviewing people from Nigeria from Haiti to, like Ghana. Like, we were everywhere through the power of internet radio. So me already having that platform established since 2017, all it did was make me stronger, because I already knew what everyone else was trying to catch up or learn how to do at that time in between like that 2020, 2022 time frame. So it actually helped me to propel. And shout out to Big Cuz, once we learned how to, once we learned how to get radio.co on our backs and we can run that thing up, it was a wrap from there. So, yeah.
Oh, really? You do radio.co?
Yeah.
I need the help. I'm just saying, this is sidebar. I need you to remember this. There's an issue I'm having right now with my radio.co. See,
yeah.
But I need your help. Okay, that's a sidebar. But when we come back, I want to know this, right? Listen, is this what you do full time?
Journalism, yes.
It's what you do full time. So when we come back, we want to know how you've been able to monetize it all and keep going, because journalism is what she did. She made sure she knows you're not a content creator. And we had this all the time. Journalism.
Yes.
Journalists. When we come back, we're going to find out, because guess what? It's serious over here. All right, this is Elevate with Dr. Shelly Shell Williams. And let me tell you, she's a wealth of knowledge. I know you can see it.
I
know you
Shelly.
can see it. And listen, I've seen it for years, but I am so excited, y'all. Come on back, because you want to hear this, all right?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Elevate with Dr. Shelly Shell Williams. We are talking to Revive P.O.C.
Yep.
And Revive is alive. Let's go, right? And you've seen that she's just like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to radio journalism, and she's serious about it. This is her livelihood and what she's done. So let's talk about how you've been able to make it your livelihood. Most people be like, I gotta have a 9 to 5, and they can't do it. This is not possible for them. So how have you been able to make journalism your full-time thing, your full-time life and career?
One thing I would definitely say, I'm super grateful that God put this in me and on me very early in my life. So I spent my entire 20s on the grind. Like, one thing you will always say, you are everywhere, you're there, and that was like really my push. Shout out to On Air with Sir, like, being able to put me in different rooms, put me on different stages, connect me to different people, being able to just really be on the grind and connect myself, and making, when people say make your network your net worth, that's exactly what I did. And I built relationships before I went out and started to try to build partnerships and collaborations, and me building these relationships helped me to build trust. And once I was able to build that trust and be able to be looked at as someone who's reliable and responsible, who takes ownership of what she's doing, someone was like, you know what, I can buy into that. I can actually put her onto this. I can actually do those things. So those investments came very gradually, because of just the hard work and dedication that I was putting into what I love to do, which was keeping Revive alive.
Revive alive. But you also had to develop revenue streams. So it's relationships, but you've been able to get, because I know this, you've been able to get grants, you've been able to get partnerships. So how can someone who is, they're like, listen, I want to start, and I've been on the grind, I've been out there, I know people, but they don't know how to monetize. So how can they do that? Give them a few of the steps that you need to do to actually monetize what they're doing.
One, go get an LLC first and foremost. Establish yourself as an actual business, not just someone who is just doing it for fun. And then two, once you get an LLC, try to figure out what you actually want to do as a business. Back to what you were saying as your why. Are you doing it for more of community-driven reasons, like where you want to actually get out into the community? Are you doing it because you want to be famous and you want to be in the entertainment world? What does that look like for you? Or are you doing it because you actually want to make an impact? Like, are you trying to change policies, legislation, and all those things wherever you are, wherever you're living? So once you figure that lane out, right, then that's how you start to mock up your grants. You are started to come and be able to make different partnerships based on the lane that you want to be in. And then, as well as just like being able to wear multiple hats is a huge thing, right? So yes, I want to do radio, but radio doesn't necessarily pay, right? Because we're on air between either 30 minutes to 3 hours, right? And you're going to get a pretty much, an hourly rate from that, right? But what you do is you want to make sure that you also know how to produce a show. Because producing, you can get longer hours producing a show versus just hosting a show. You want to make sure that you understand post-production. When it comes down to post-production, how do you edit? How do you clip? How do you manage an audio file? How do you manage a video file? Those are things that that are actual paid jobs. You know what I'm saying? So if you're able to do that as well, you can get paid for multiple things at one time. And then also, when it comes down to, you know, this is a really big one, and no one likes to do this anymore, Shelly. And I know we're talking about monetizing, but first you gotta actually work for free a little bit around here, right? And this world, this bubble, this entertainment industry. Being honest, Shelly, I know we could talk about it, but if someone can see that you are willing to put in the time and the grit and the work, and you might not necessarily get, you know, this $1,000 check this time, but you got fed and you got your open bar or whatever it may be, but you still showed up, that next time they're gonna put that money in your pocket and it's gonna come back tenfold. And that's what I mean when I say like building relationships before jumping out there and try to do the partnerships or collaborations. But I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody always jumping out there for that check. Sometimes you gotta jump out there just for the love of it and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? You know how they say flip that money? That's how you really get a flip, to be honest. But then also the last thing that I would say that too, monetizing too, is when you are doing something, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? So for example, if I wanted to do this live broadcast, I know that I can't do this whole thing myself, right? So I'm gonna say, yo, Shelly, do you want to go half on this to make this happen so we can actually have, you know, an actual show or do some type of partnership? You bring the cameras and the lights, I bring the microphones, we do this, and then that's how we can monetize off of it as well. For me, I kind of fell off of events per se because I was going crazy trying to get people in the doors to events. Yeah, I had to fall off a little bit. So instead of me throwing the event, I went into the lane of like, I can host the event, I can moderate the conversation, I can be, you know, a panelist this time versus trying to bring the whole panel together. And those are other ways that I was able to create some type of income as well.
Amazing. And I'm telling you, once again, she's a wealth of information. We're going to go into, now we have the interactive, right? Now that you have an expert here, we want to get her feedback as well. So we talked about the prompt that you were supposed to put in. Hopefully you at home, you did it as well, right? And now we have Chad.
Shout out to Chad.
Chad. I make up names sometimes. I'm sorry, Chad. We have Chad, and you put the prompt in, right?
Yes, I did.
Tell us the backstory. You said you had a podcast. You wanted to start restart your podcast.
Correct.
Right? Why did you stop?
I stopped just because of time.
Okay. All right, but did it make you money?
It did not.
Okay, that's why you stopped. Just really. But so now that you put this prompt in, what did it come out? What was the results of it?
It gave me a number of like bullet points to, you know, create a niche for myself. But the first thing it said, you know, when it comes to like driving monetization, it said, so I'm going to give a little bit of feedback for what my podcast is so you understand what the answers are. The podcast is called the Patrimony Podcast. And my slogan is becoming the man I have to be to raise the young man after me. And essentially each episode is supposed to be a lesson that I have learned, am still learning, or have yet to learn that I would want to pass down to my future son. I don't have any children. If I were to have a child and it was a daughter, then these would be, you know, lessons or somewhat of a blueprint of the type of man that I would want her to associate with and eventually marry. So when I put the prompt in, it said, you're sitting on a highly monetizable niche, but only if you resist the temptation to monetize it like a generic podcast. Your advantage isn't just your topic, it's the emotional weight plus identity transition your audience is going through. So going from boys to men to fathers. One of the monetization plans was think of the audience first, the community, and then transformation. And it also talked about like sponsorships. So BetterHelp was one example that it gave. Mint and Hims. You've probably heard of all of these companies before. But it also talked about affiliate revenue. So things related to like fatherhood prep, building relationships, emotional intelligence, and it specified you're not selling products, you're curating tools for becoming a man. And I think in today's society, you know, we need to, unfortunately, there's a lot of nonsense out there already about masculinity. And I wanted to have an honest conversation about it firstly, talking about and talking to young boys, because you can't really talk to the men who are stuck in their ways and conditioned in the ways that they already are. We need to start from, the grassroots, like the budding children. So there's a number of other things.
And I'm sure it's another thing. So I'm going to go into this, right? So you have a passion. I see it. I feel it. I know it. But yet you stopped.
I did.
So there has to be something you put in place that makes you not want to stop. So that means by using the monetization, maybe it's you saying I don't have time, but do you not have time to make money?
I do have time to make money.
Okay, once again, that's because we have to shape our mind. It's like I love what I do, but I've done a lot of free, like I did my free time. I'm done with free, right? My goal is not to do free, but I have a passion for what I'm teaching. I have a passion to get people away from doing things for free and make money, right? That's why I do what I'm doing right now. So when I heard what you said, and I'm going to ask Revive, when I heard what you said, I instantly was like, oh my God, you have a money stream. That means you can take your podcast idea and turn it into a coaching business or a mentorship where people pay you to listen, here's my mentorship community where people are paying you per month. You have a father and a son, a father and a daughter. You have a family thing and they're all paying you for it per month, right? There's a way that you use your platform to make money based on that. So if you have a desire for it, God says to sell your oil. So your oil is what you have. And if you don't sell it, you're doing the world a disservice. That mother, that father out there can't do what he's done because you didn't show up because you decided I don't have time. But if you show up and you make money off of it, then you're like, all right, I'm showing up. And now that father has a better platform. That father knows what to do. The next generation knows what to do because what you have inside of you is for them.
Yes.
Right? So
I would say I would say that because the ChatGPT pretty much told you the answer. You're not selling products. Your actual podcast idea doesn't have a product to be given. One thing that Shelly did say was she mentioned some services that you can offer, right? But 9 times out of 10, again, going back to what the ChatGPT said, also finding your audience in your community. 9 times out of 10, the people who would be in your audience and community will not be able to afford said services in an astronomical way. They can probably afford it, on some GP, but on an astronomical way. So being able to find someone that you can partner with, like a Boys and Girls Club or a nonprofit organization who's already doing the work with adolescent youth and boys and men or young women, however you want to describe it, that would be your best bet, to go into a partnership with someone who's already doing the work. Because trying to build the services around that, it's going to be very, very hard to find a community to buy into it, just in my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I love that way. And when we say that people that can't afford it, right? I have an expertise. I build high ticket offers for $1 million people, right? This is what they do. They build, I help them make millions, right? So, but when we put our minds like, all right, so if I make money off of someone who has an income, I'm looking for fathers in families who make 100K or more, right? They are out there, right? We don't always have to go into the community. What we do is we make the money from somebody who might have 100K. You have a father who's busy and they need what you have, and they make 100K and they can afford to pay a high ticket offer. And you may have families who make a high ticket. They're out there. I know them personally. Like people so what you do is you make the money here to be able to go back to the community and say, listen, right, why go back broke? Why not go back with, listen, what I've done, I have this community. So there's 2 ways to do it. But the reason why a lot of us stay in that place is because we feel like we can't go. There are people that can afford it. That we're not going to close our mind to it, because there's people making 100K plus. I know people making $1 million in a day. So if it's possible for them, it's possible for each and every one of us. It's just about reframing and starting from a place. Now you know your why. Are you going to do it again? Are you going to go back?
Most definitely.
Okay. Woo! That's all we need to do. So we're going to end this show. Tell them how they can hear you, see you, do whatever it is to find you. you?
Well, reviveisalive.com is the place you can find me. Again, that's reviveisalive.com. Social media is all platform the same everywhere. Revive_P.O.C. Once you get to the website, subscribe to our newsletter so you can stay locked. We won't spam your inbox. We just keep it like very cordial and neutral so you can stay locked with everything as far as exclusive interviews, recaps, and all that good stuff. As far as WRD, my show is every Friday starting at 10 a.m. You can find me on EcoWord, and then also 98.5 as well every Friday at 3 p.m. WJYN. Thank you, Shelly, for having me. I appreciate you.
No, thank you for being here. You are wealth of knowledge. Listen, I'm telling you, we need all that she got. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes. I am so excited. Once again, when she said it was full circle, like really my first meeting was an interview, and at that time my hair was flowing. It was like my real hair, and it wasn't my fake hair. It was like my real hair that was flowing down. So I want y'all to see that picture. I'm only saying it because he gonna put the picture right on the screen because I want y'all to see it like that. I was like, okay, right, this is what I was looking like back then. So now, right now that I put this on, but we're gonna go elevate with Dr. Shelly Shell Williams. What I need you to do is to say locked with me. You can download the QR code and join my Elevate to Accelerate Mastermind. Elevate to Accelerate Mastermind. The QR code is right on the screen, and that's how we monetize because my mastermind is jumping, y'all. Yeah. Let's go.